mentioned, I think we just figured, look, we have day off for the coaches, day off for the players, but we understand that there's quite an appetite for this. So we'll start with Cyril Leeder here, and then around 10 o'clock we're hoping to have Steve Staios in. When Cy is wrapped up here, if any of you need him TV for like a one-on-one, or you guys have questions, that's all fair game. We also have in the back here our VP of ticketing, Brendan Duvall's back here. If you have any questions that are kind of like maybe granular about tickets or strategies around that, feel free to pick Brendan's brain. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Cy. He doesn't have like an opening statement or anything, so by all means, just fire up your hand and ask away.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous.
Good morning. Maybe you can just sum up what it means for the organization and the city to be back in the playoffs.
I mean, it's fantastic. It's exciting. It's, as you know, Bruce, long overdue. So I think we're walking with a little jump in their step this morning. It's good for the community, obviously, as well, for Ottawa-Gatineau. It's the bars, the restaurants, the hotels. It's good for everybody. So it's fantastic.
When do you anticipate your first game of the first round will be and how that will go?
Not sure yet. All we've been told from the league is that it's likely the East will open on the Sunday. So, if we're a road team, it could be Sunday or Monday it'd open. If we're a home team, it would be Sunday or Monday as well, obviously.
Do you have a preference on who you'd like to see in the first round?
You know it's bad karma to pick your opponent, so I'm not going to do that. But obviously, I think a lot of fans would like to see the Battle of Ontario. That would be a lot of fun. Steve will probably have his own views on that as well. But no, we're happy to be in the situation we're in right now. We're happy that we've got a little bit of time now to do a bit of planning. It wasn't like a last game of the year type of thing. That helps us as well.
We've had a good run recently with ticket sales. This morning, do you expect even more frenzy and a little more?
Yeah, we've had a lot of frenzy the last 24 hours. So we've sold 50 season seats yesterday. Yeah, 50 yesterday, and over 200 inquiries last night after the clinching. So which is a lot for us. So that's exciting. We've added almost 600 new season seat owners in the last 5 weeks, and we expect that to continue as we lead up to the playoffs. So we've got some work to do to rebuild our season seat base, and nothing helps that more than getting into the playoffs. It's huge.
What's been a priority for you now, sir? I imagine like the tickets for playoffs in a big way kind of take care of themselves. So what's the priority between now and your first home playoff game?
Yeah, I mean, the tickets is a bit of work, Kyle. We got a bit of work there. So what we'll do is we'll go out to our season seat owners now, make sure they've got what they need. We're going to sell to new season seat owners. That's going to take place probably over another week. And then we'll assess where the inventory's at. Then we'll go out to the general public somewhere between the 15th and the 18th of April. We'll get out to them with single individual game tickets. And then the rest of the planning's in full steam. We got to find, 80,000 rally towels here in about 10 days. We got to get them here to Ottawa. We've got plans for the CIBC Red Zone Plaza. We're going to activate that. We've got to get that going. What are we going to do out there? We're going to hire bands. We're going to, hopefully the weather will cooperate. We'll have some outdoor patios for our restaurants. Doing all the planning in the arena. Game production, we want that to elevate a bit. What can we do differently? What can we bring into it to help that? So there's a lot of planning going on right now, and it's a good problem to have. That your staff, as I said, are pretty excited about the opportunity to show what they can do at a playoff time.
Are you thinking of bringing back Danger Flutes, the old Sens theme? A lot of fans have been asking about that.
Yeah, we're committed for the opening to stick with the bell ringing. So that's part of the planning. Is who do we have coming in to special guests to ring the bell for us? So, yeah, but we're continue to use Danger Flutes throughout all of our planning, our game production, our marketing. You hear our ads. We're running it. We're using it a lot. So.
On a personal point of view, you've been here since day one, just thick and thin and all that. How much do you appreciate this confirmation compared to the others?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was here in the early 2000s, I think we maybe took playoffs for granted. It was just let's get through the regular season and get to the playoffs. So when you're not there, Absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's been 8 years, so I really value this time of year. I really appreciate it. I hope I don't take it for granted. I hope my staff and my team don't take it for granted either.
There's a possibility you guys play Toronto in the first round. I know a lot of Sens fans might be worried that the stadium might be blue. Like, what are you trying to do to ensure that if that were to happen, that it's mostly Sens fans in the building?
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing obviously is taking care of our season seat owners first and adding new season seat owners. So I think that's the best medicine. The way to get your building full of your own fans is to have it full of season seat owners, and that's part of what we need to do here. And playoffs will help us, increase that season seat base.
When do you expect tickets to go on sale for like the general public?
General public, April 15th to 18th, somewhere in that window.
Will you try to limit ticket sales outside of Ottawa area? I don't think you can.
No, you can't do that, and we won't try to do that. Look, our plan, Brent, is to talk to our season seat members, get them what they need. We think those are the true Sens fans, and then we'll go out to the general public.
Based on past history, making the playoffs, is there a trend, Cyril, as far as percentage of increase in season ticket sales that you could go on, or?
No, that every year's different. We expect this year to be quite a big lift because we haven't been there in 8 years. So if you've been there 10 years in a row, the lift's a little, not as much. We noticed, in the 2000s that the further you went, the more it went up. I think we'll get that benefit, I think, earlier this year because it has been 8 years since we've been in the playoffs. So I think fans are genuinely excited when you get 200 inbound inquiries overnight saying, how do I get playoff tickets? How do I get season tickets? That's significant for us.
Can you describe just the significance of revenue that playoff hockey in this building brings to a franchise that's been in 8 years for it?
Yeah, it's significant. There's a revenue share, obviously, with the league, so it doesn't all go to the team. But I really think the big benefit for the club from a financial perspective is in the following year. So you get that lift from your ticket base, and then that carries into the next year. Everybody's excited about the next year. So we've always seen that the financial windfall, or if we call it that, is a year, the next year ahead. It's good for business here, as I said, in the community. I think if you talk to a bar owner or a restaurant owner, they're pretty excited about the fact that we're in the playoffs. That's good for business here.
I saw a letter pass on Reddit for the season member tickets. You said that we will have measures in place to monitor playoff resale activity. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so when we go out to our ticket holders and say, look, we're going to sell you some extra tickets, they can't resell them. So we turn off the resale. There is a resale that we can turn off on those tickets. So we don't want them buying them from us at a discount and reselling them to opposing teams' fans at a premium. So that's the process there. That's one of the measures, I guess, that we are taking to kind of limit the resale of tickets, is that we turn it off when we can. But we went out with a letter from myself basically saying, look, we want you to put these tickets in Sens fans' hands and come and enjoy playoff hockey.
So if it's not Toronto, we want to limit the New Jersey here.
Well, no matter who it is, but yeah, particularly if it's Toronto. Yeah, exactly.
Probably no matter who you play in that first round, there's going to be a lot of attention, not just on the team, but on Brady Tkachuk, who's going to be in the playoffs for the very first time. What do you think of that potential of, like, not just Sportsnet, obviously, but a ESPN or a TNT looking to focus on Brady Tkachuk getting to experience his first postseason, considering the stardom that he's been kind of riding since the Four Nations?
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good for Brady. That it's been 500-plus games, and he hasn't played a playoff game, so that's great for him. I'm not feeling too good about the other team because Brady's going to get unleashed in the playoffs, and I think we'll see the real competitor that he is and the team leader. I think if we played Florida, I'm pretty sure that's of high interest to ESPN and the American viewers. So we have the two Tkachuk brothers playing against each other. I think they've already said that they'd like to cover that if that in case was a playoff matchup. But we've got lots of other players that I think will show their mettle as well. And Thomas Chabot's another one that's been 500-plus games. I know he's pretty excited about getting into a playoff game.
set. So yeah, if anyone, TV, if anyone needs Cyril for like an extra clip or one-on-one or something, just come see us. And like I said, Brendan Duvall's back there. If you got any questions, just go up to him and chat. And what time are we at right now?
9:49.
9:49. So yeah, hopefully in about 10, 15 minutes we'll bring Steve up here.
Thanks.
Staios up here, and
Thank you, sir.
we'll go from there.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ty. Thanks, Cyril.
everyone.
Thanks, Ty.
guys.
All right, so we're going to continue with President of Hockey Operations and General Manager Steve Staios. We'll take questions right away.
Just start with, Steve, what it means to get this accomplishment and get this team to the playoffs.
It's a good first step for this group. I mean, I'm really excited for our players. From day one when they came into training camp, you could see that there was this motivation, and it's a good step for us, and they're a motivated group. Last night was a little bit awkward, to be quite honest. We played one of our poorest games of the season, and yet clinched a playoff spot. So, and the reaction from the group was not quite satisfied, So that's, I think, the interesting thing with this group and how they're handling all these situations moving forward is that they're motivated.
What do you think, Steve, allowed you to get here?
There's a lot of things. I think there's not just one thing. It's a tough thing to do, to qualify for the Stanley Cup Playoffs. I mean, the teams it's such a challenge to get to that point. But maybe we can look back on all areas of the organization took a step, and there was a high level of accountability all throughout the organization. We needed to change the standard of how things were done here, but you can point out to the players and the commitment that they've put in, the coaching staff, and getting this team to that next level with an opportunity to play in the playoffs.
This team was at a low point in November with that 5-game losing skid. A lot of fans were basically resigning themselves to a lost season. And when we spoke to Travis Green a couple of days ago, he had mentioned, there were different times they had to talk to players and have conversations and not trying to think about the past. What can you say about the work that was done from your end to help this team dig themselves out of that hole to get to where they're at now, where they're in the playoffs?
Well, the work, I mean, I think specifically you talked about when we're facing some adversity. Travis in particular is an honest guy, and he whether it's with the individuals or with the team, and he's connected with the group that way. Real high level of accountability, but open lines and honest line of communication, and I think the players have appreciated that, and they've grown within that. So times of adversity is really, when you can show your true character, and I think something to be proud of for these players is that they found the resolve to get through those moments, and some nights when we're not playing our best, find a way to win games. That's really the essence of team, and I think what's interesting is we don't rely on one line or one player or one area of our team to win games, and it's that's I've been very, very proud of the group to be able to say something like that, because that's the essence of a team.
Why do you think that this team has been resilient this year? It felt like in the past this team didn't really have that mettle and couldn't really survive like that November stretch. Like, what do you think was the change in that culture?
You talk about culture. We use that a lot, and we feel like we've changed it. But I think it's I think it's an attitude throughout the organization, from everybody, and belief in one another, honest accountability, all those things and it's not built on one day. It's every day, and you got to live it. And I think the example of getting through those times, I think, has really, really helped us. And once they do it once as a group, you start to build that belief, and it's a good group. It's a special group. They've been open to the coaching. They've wanted to get better. They're motivated. They've stuck together through some hard times, and I'm excited for them.
I think outside of Ottawa, there's probably there's probably a sense that it's enough for Ottawa just to get to the playoffs. But do you think you can do some damage now that you're in there?
Yes, I think you want to get in to see. We haven't experienced this core group hasn't experienced this. I'm really excited for them. Like, and you want to get in and give yourself the best opportunity to win, and it's hard. And we've talked about playing playoff hockey, and the one thing I think down the stretch that Travis touched on is these games are hard. As they get in the last 10 or 20 games, embrace that, and I think our group has.
I was just going to mention, similar to Wayne's point, you talk about how this is step one, and even like last night, the group not being satisfied. So in your mind, what is step two naturally?
I guess we'll find out. I mean, it's really is to get in and prepare. Like, the playoffs are a different animal, and I believe that our group has the mettle to be able to, rise up to that occasion. They, you're preparing for one team, and we're coming in as underdogs. Like when Michael Andlauer first came through the door and talked about us in Ottawa, and we're underdogs, and we're okay with that. And there's teams that we'll match up against who have been there and done that and have that experience, and that's something that we're going to have to. This will be our first time doing it with this group, but I mean, it's hard not to believe in the group. Like, to see how they've how they've stepped up to the occasion throughout the year. It's hard not to believe in them.
One big player on this team is going to be Brady Tkachuk. We haven't seen him in the lineup for 5 games now. What's his status, and are you shutting him down just to get him healthy for the playoffs?
His status is he continues to progress. It's always now we've clinched a playoff spot. I think every team goes through these discussions, like, what is the best situation? Do you rest players? How do you manage that? We haven't figured that part out yet, but I think to me it's you always want to keep the team moving along and competing at a high level to roll into the playoffs at the right time. But certainly those will be discussions that we'll have as far as lineup for the last 4 games.
You say he's progressing. If the playoffs started tomorrow, would he play?
I would think so. Yes. Yeah. I can't give you a definitive but. Yeah.
Further to that, Nick Cousins has stated, will he be ready for the playoffs?
Again, he's very close. He's I don't know if there's been a player who's attacked his rehab the way that this guy has. It's been really deserves a lot of credit. He's pushed through very quickly and sort of expedited his possible return to play.
Obviously, not to go back to Brady, but obviously you guys making the playoffs, this means a lot to everyone in that organization. But could you put into words as best as you can how much this means to a leader like Brady, who will have that spotlight on him throughout the playoffs, considering his play style?
Yeah, sure. I mean, had a nice conversation with him last night after the game. These players put in a lot of work, and I'm proud of them. And I think I'll leave it at that. I mean, it's a special moment for these players, this core group of players. I think Tim said it best. They've been through a lot. He talked about what they've been through, and for me to have an effect on supporting this group and giving them that opportunity to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's a proud moment.
I think we saw a glimpse of Brady playoff Brady Tkachuk in the 4 Nations. If he brings that game to the playoffs, he's going to be a difference maker, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and that's just the fiber of his being. He's a competitive young man, and he wears his heart on his sleeve.
I could understand you might not want to go into what was said with you and Brady, but could you kind of paint a picture about just what that looked like, or just what emotions you saw from him in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, coming in and being able to just help support, it's the players. The players go on the ice and they battle, and it's my job to create the environment and support it and balance the lineup and do what a manager does. But man, it's just they've put in a lot of work, and I'm excited for them to get this opportunity.
Can you also talk about your coaching staff? Because obviously Travis Green and Nolan Baumgartner go way back, but then you brought in Mario and you blended with Daniel Alfredson, because they had to grow as a group as well.
from day one, they came together pretty quickly, and having Jacques Martin around as well. But Travis he's a very inclusive coach with his assistants, and there's a great bond and camaraderie with the group. Extremely hardworking, but the vision that Travis had for this group and how he's been able to coach this group and turn it from where we were last year to be able to play the type of hockey to give ourselves a chance to make the playoffs. The commitment on the defensive side has been incredible, and it's a challenging thing to do, especially when you have highly talented players who really on the offense is where they like to be. And that commitment from the coaching staff and then the players buying into it has been the reason why we're here today.
Steve, you had a relatively nondescript first year on the job as GM in terms of player acquisition. Your second year on the job, it's run counter to that. How rewarding is it for you and your staff to have this measure of success in clinch now, and how much pressure did you put on you and your staff to get to this point this season?
It flowed naturally last year where we didn't have. I think I talked to you. I think the questions on the team were: is this core good enough to be able to kind of take that next step? And really, my honest assessment was I don't think they had the chance to really show what they were all about. Start to build around it. Coaching staff. You kind of get Linus, and you start to sort of build a model, and you get then you can really evaluate. So to rush to evaluate and make decisions hastily just to make decisions, I was willing to sit back and sort of take the heat on, what's this guy doing? But I needed to make sure that I didn't want to make any decisions without knowing exactly what this group was about. And then we started to pick away at it. And obviously the off season, bringing Linus in was a start. And then you start to build around that. But as far as I don't like to rush into any of these decisions. Sometimes you don't know what you got, And another example is how we've dealt with our American Hockey League affiliate in Belleville, and they feel like they're part of the group because we've used a lot of them. And so to look outside the organization for player acquisition when you don't know what you have underneath, I think, and that takes time and it's patience and not always the easiest thing to do.
Experience in your locker room, was it focused for you until last July? How big has it been to have this experience surrounding the young core, and what was it about this mix of veteran players that helped your team get to the playoffs this year?
Yeah, the goal in the offseason was on the goaltending and then balancing out our defense core and then the veteran players. So we were pretty detailed in what our approach was going to be. I mean, when you can bring in players like David Perron, Michael Amadio, championship experience, Nick Jensen, Linus, those players, when you go through losing stretches, and I think those players are the ones who sort of calm the waters down, and whether it's through a conversation on the bus or on the plane or at practice, I think they've been. And you can ask the players really to get the full assessment, but I do think that they've had. We watch them on the ice and we evaluate how they play, but there's also the unquantifiable and experience that they bring.
When you reflect on the couple of weeks since the trade deadline, how much of an impact do you think Cousins and Zetterlund have had on this group so far?
I think they've had a positive impact. Both still young players. I think the ceiling is high for both of them. I think they fit into our group well. I think the depth, the profile of a Dylan Cousins at the center ice position is exciting for us. I think and Z is creating a lot of chances, and good to see him get one last night. He's a quality kid and quality hockey player. And again, I think we're happy with where they are now as members of our group, but also excited about the upside.
We've seen Jake Sanderson talk about his game, especially on the defense
Yeah, I think for all of us, it's a good step, and we're excited to be in there. But Jake, yeah, since Four Nation, I mean, he's even before he was brings it every night for us. He's just elevated again. You know, it's impressive in the way that he goes about his business, and just, you know, you don't talk about Jake so much as a leader, you know, but he's one of our best leaders because of the way he handles himself and the commitment that he has to the game.
Do you consider bringing Carter Yakimchuk in for the playoffs to be around?
Well, we want him to focus on winning a championship as well. You know, I think, and that was the message to him. You know, the development part of it, I think, has to be like, even when our players are in Belleville, I want them to help the Belleville Sens be a championship team and develop that way. So same messaging for Carter.
But if they lose out in the next round, would you
Sure.
bring him in?
We would talk about bringing him
What
in.
advice do you have for players going into their first playoffs?
I think that'll be the coach's messages to him, but I don't think there needs to be much said, really. You know, I think stay in the moment. You know, the lights are a little bit brighter. It's such a fine line. You know, like you get into these playoff series, and it's going to be the emotion's going to really ramp up. So being able to control all that, you know, and but you know, Travis and the staff will have them, you know, the messaging right for them to. But I'm excited for them.
How do you feel this roster construction is, you know, in a sense, built for the playoffs? You know, you have a lot of guys who've been through like wars over time. Like obviously regular season hockey is much different than playoff hockey. Like how do you think this group will translate to play to the playoffs?
I guess time will tell. Really, I mean, it's a balanced group. You know, we don't rely on one line. Like I said earlier, we don't rely on just, you know. So I think the depth of the group and the way that we play will give us an opportunity. Really, I just like, you know, we work hard on the defensive side of things. We make it tough on teams and you know, and again, we don't rely on one line. So it's not like if I'm looking at playing against our group, if you're matching up, like it's, you know, the depth has really helped us.
You talked about load management with Brady earlier, possibly resting going into the postseason. Feels like a lot of your success is going to be predicated on the play of your secondary, Shabbat and Jensen. Is there any discussion about shutting Jensen down for the remainder of the season?
Again, probably, yeah, conversations about it for sure. Like, I mean, I guess at this time of the year, most players and teams are dealing with guys who are a little bit nicked up. So, yeah, it's a fine line, though. You want your team on the ice and competing, and you want to keep the rhythm. But certainly, I mean, if it's for get some rest for some players, we'll take a look at that.
With your goaltending, if you want to give a goaltender a night off, is there a possibility of Levy coming out and playing games down the stretch?
Yeah, I think those are all on the table.
Can you give us any indication on whether you've spoken with Claude Giroux and his agent just about him becoming a free agent?
Yeah, I wouldn't talk about. I mean, I don't want to talk about contracts, but certainly I talked to you know, we had a discussion midway through the season. We're going to wait till after the season's done.
You haven't wrapped up 7, so I'm just curious about resting guys as opposed to where you finish in the standings. Does it matter? Is resting more important?
Certainly, I think we look internally. We don't want to look at who the opponent is or anything like that's not the right way to go about things. Really, I mean they're all quality. I mean, obviously, teams we're looking at playing here in the first round have been there and done that, and I think we're okay coming in as underdogs.
Thank you, Steve.
Good. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.